Welcome to my channel. Imagine waking up one day with everything people dream about: money in your account, praise from strangers, beautiful photos online, a respected title, and a life that looks perfect from the outside. Yet deep inside, you still feel empty, restless, and disconnected from yourself. That silent emptiness is more common than most people admit, and today we are going to talk about why it happens. We are going to explore what success truly means and why so many people spend years chasing goals that never really belong to them. From childhood, people are taught to follow invisible rules about what a successful life should look like. Study hard, get a stable job, impress people, earn more money, stay productive, never slow down, and always appear confident. At first, these ideas seem normal because everyone around you repeats them. Parents repeat them, schools repeat them, social media repeats them, and slowly those ideas become part of your identity. Without realizing it, many people spend their entire lives trying to meet expectations they never personally chose. They wake up every morning carrying pressure that does not even belong to them. The dangerous part is that society rewards this behavior. People applaud you for being busy, exhausted, and constantly available, even when your inner world is collapsing. The world notices your achievements, but it rarely asks whether your soul feels peaceful. That is why so many successful looking people secretly struggle with anxiety, loneliness, insecurity, and emotional exhaustion. They learned how to build an impressive image, but they never learned how to build a meaningful life. Real success begins the moment you stop asking, "What will impress people?" and start asking, "What kind of life actually feels honest to me?" That question changes everything because it forces you to examine the script you have been unconsciously following for years. Maybe your idea of success came from your family's fears. Maybe it came from comparing yourself to others online. Maybe it came from painful experiences that made you believe your worth depends entirely on achievement. Whatever the source is, if you never question it, you may spend decades climbing toward a destination that leaves you emotionally empty when you finally arrive. Think about this carefully. You can own expensive things and still hate your daily life. You can receive praise and still feel unseen. You can achieve every goal on your list and still feel like something important is missing. That missing piece is usually inner success. Outer success is visible. It includes money, appearance, recognition, titles, and achievements. Inner success is quieter and harder to measure. It includes peace of mind, self respect, emotional stability, meaningful relationships, honesty with yourself, and the ability to enjoy life without constantly proving your value to others. Outer success without inner success creates imbalance. It is like building a beautiful house on weak foundations. Everything may look stable until life brings pressure, failure, heartbreak, illness, or uncertainty. Then suddenly the entire structure begins to shake. At the same time, ignoring practical responsibilities completely is not wisdom either. A meaningful life still requires discipline, effort, and structure. Real success is not about rejecting ambition. It is about creating balance between achievement and well being. It is learning how to function in the world without losing yourself in the process. Most people never pause long enough to ask themselves what truly matters to them. They continue running because stopping feels uncomfortable. Silence forces honesty. When life becomes quiet, you finally notice how exhausted you are from performing all the time. You notice how much energy goes into pretending to be okay, pretending to be confident, pretending to enjoy a path that no longer feels aligned with who you are becoming. That realization can feel painful, but it is also powerful because awareness is the first step toward change. The moment you begin defining success for yourself instead of accepting borrowed definitions, your life slowly starts becoming more authentic, more intentional, and more peaceful. But this shift does not happen overnight. It begins with small moments of honesty. Maybe you admit that you are tired of living only for approval. Maybe you realize that your health has been ignored while you chased productivity. Maybe you notice that your relationships feel distant because work consumes all your attention. These moments are important because they reveal the hidden cost of living without self awareness. The truth is simple: a successful life should not only look good from the outside, it should also feel meaningful from the inside. It should allow space for rest, growth, connection, and emotional truth. Otherwise, no amount of achievement will ever feel like enough, and the search for success will quietly become a never ending escape from yourself instead of a meaningful human journey. Many people discover that the hardest part of redefining success is not changing their goals, but changing their relationship with themselves. For years, they may have measured their worth through productivity, comparison, or approval. They learned to believe that resting meant laziness, that slowing down meant failure, and that saying no to others was selfish. Because of this conditioning, even when they begin building a healthier life, guilt often follows them. They feel guilty for protecting their energy, guilty for choosing peace over constant pressure, guilty for disappointing people who benefited from their lack of boundaries. Yet, growth always creates discomfort before it creates freedom. A person who has spent years living for external validation cannot suddenly feel confident the moment they begin choosing themselves. Confidence is built slowly through repeated acts of honesty. Every time you respect your limits, every time you speak truthfully, every time you stop abandoning your needs for approval, you teach yourself that your inner life matters too. This is one of the most important parts of a successful life: learning to trust your own voice again. Without that trust, you become easily controlled by trends, expectations, fear, and comparison. One day you are chasing money because society says it matters most. Another day, you are chasing popularity because social media rewards attention. Then suddenly, you are chasing perfection because insecurity convinces you that being human is not enough. The problem is not ambition itself. The problem is unconscious ambition. Ambition disconnected from values, health, meaning, and emotional balance. Real success asks a deeper question, not simply, what do I want to achieve, but also, who am I becoming while I pursue these goals? A person can achieve impressive things while becoming bitter, exhausted, dishonest, or emotionally empty. Another person may progress more slowly while becoming wiser, calmer, kinder, and more grounded. Which life is truly successful? The answer depends on what you value most deeply. This is why self awareness matters so much. Without self awareness, people often inherit goals instead of creating them consciously. They spend years trying to become versions of themselves that gain admiration but lose authenticity. Eventually, many experience burnout because the human spirit cannot endlessly survive disconnection from truth. Burnout is not always caused by working too hard. Sometimes it is caused by working hard for reasons that no longer feel meaningful. Imagine carrying heavy weight every day while walking toward a destination you never personally chose. Eventually, your body, mind, or emotions begin demanding attention. Stress increases, motivation disappears. Even success starts feeling strangely empty because your achievements no longer connect with your deeper needs. This is why reflection is necessary. A person who never reflects eventually lives automatically. They react to pressure instead of responding with intention. They follow routines without asking whether those routines are creating a fulfilling life. Reflection interrupts that unconscious cycle. It creates space to ask difficult but necessary questions. What actually gives me energy? What consistently drains me? Which relationships help me grow? And which relationships force me to hide my real self? What kind of work makes me feel useful instead of emotionally numb? What values do I want my daily actions to represent? These questions are uncomfortable because honest answers often require change. Sometimes success means walking away from environments that damage your peace. Sometimes it means admitting that a path you worked hard for no longer feels right. Sometimes it means choosing slower growth in exchange for better mental health and stronger relationships. Society rarely celebrates these quiet decisions, but they matter deeply. A meaningful life is built through thousands of small choices that protect your well being, your integrity, and your connection with what truly matters. The challenge is that modern life constantly pulls attention outward. Notifications, opinions, advertisements, and endless comparison make it difficult to hear your own thoughts clearly. Many people are surrounded by noise every day, yet remain disconnected from themselves. That is why moments of stillness are powerful. Silence allows hidden emotions to surface. It reveals what your mind has been avoiding. In silence, you begin noticing whether your current life actually reflects your deepest values or merely reflects the expectations placed upon you by others. Once you recognize that difference, your understanding of success begins changing naturally. You stop asking only how to appear successful and you begin asking how to live truthfully, peacefully, responsibly, and fully. This transformation does not require perfection. It requires awareness, patience, and courage repeated over time. Every decision strengthens your connection with yourself. Every boundary protects your peace. Every moment spent caring for your body, your mind, and your relationships becomes part of a definition of success, one rooted not in performance, but in alignment between your actions, your values, and the person you want to become. When people think about success, they often imagine a final destination, a moment where everything suddenly feels complete and perfect. They imagine reaching a certain income, buying a house, gaining recognition, or finally becoming confident enough to feel satisfied with life. But real life rarely works this way. Success is not a permanent emotional state that arrives once all problems disappear. Even people who achieve extraordinary things still experience fear, uncertainty, disappointment, and difficult seasons. The difference is not that successful people avoid struggle. The difference is that they learn how to move through struggle without completely losing themselves. This understanding changes the way you approach your goals. Instead of believing that happiness exists somewhere far away in the future, you begin realizing that the quality of your daily life matters now. The way you speak to yourself matters now. The way you treat your body matters now. The way you spend your attention, energy, and time matters now. A person who sacrifices every part of themselves in pursuit of achievement often arrives at success emotionally exhausted. They may reach their goals but feel disconnected from joy because they train themselves to live only for the next result. This is why balance is not weakness. Balance is wisdom. A balanced life does not mean every area is perfect at the same time. Some periods require more focus on work, while other periods require more focus on healing, relationships, or rest. Balance means staying aware enough that no essential part of your humanity is completely neglected for too long. Health is one of the clearest examples of this truth. Many people treat their bodies like machines instead of living systems that require care and recovery. They ignore sleep, stress, movement, and emotional exhaustion until physical symptoms force them to stop. Then they realize that no achievement feels meaningful when your mind and body are collapsing. Taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is responsibility. Your energy influences every relationship, every decision, and every experience you have. A successful life includes learning how to protect that energy instead of constantly draining it to satisfy endless external demands. Relationships are equally important. Human beings are not designed to live completely alone. Yet, many people become so focused on proving themselves that they slowly lose connection with the people who truly matter. They become emotionally unavailable, distracted, or too exhausted to maintain meaningful bonds. Eventually, they discover that success feels empty when there is nobody with whom they can share honesty, vulnerability, and genuine connection. Real relationships are not built through perfection. They are built through presence, communication, trust, patience, and emotional courage. Sometimes success means apologizing sincerely instead of protecting your ego. Sometimes it means listening carefully instead of trying to win every argument. Sometimes it means setting boundaries with people who constantly disrespect your peace. Healthy relationships require effort, but they also provide emotional grounding that achievement alone can never replace. Another important part of success is meaningful contribution. People want to feel useful. They want to know that their actions matter in some way beyond survival. This does not mean everyone must become famous or change the entire world. Meaning can exist in ordinary daily actions. Teaching someone, helping family, creating something beautiful, solving problems, supporting a community, or simply doing honest work with integrity can all create meaning. The key is connection between your actions and your values. When your daily life consistently violates your values, emotional emptiness often grows quietly in the background. But when your actions reflect what genuinely matters to you, even difficult work feels more purposeful. This is why understanding your values matters so much. Values act like an internal compass. Without them, you drift according to pressure, trends, and temporary emotions. With them, your decisions become more intentional. You begin asking different questions. Not only will this make me look successful, but also, will this choice help me become the kind of person I respect? That shift creates deeper stability because your identity stops depending entirely on external approval. Comparison becomes less powerful when your life is guided by internal clarity instead of constant competition. Social media often makes this difficult because it creates endless opportunities to feel inadequate. Every day, people see edited images of wealth, beauty, confidence, relationships, and achievement. Over time, this can create the illusion that everyone else is happier, more successful, and more fulfilled. But comparison hides reality. People usually share their highlights, not their loneliness, anxiety, confusion, or personal struggles. If you constantly compare your private life to someone else's public image, you will eventually feel defeated no matter how much progress you make. The healthier approach is to use admiration as inspiration instead of self punishment. You can respect someone's discipline, creativity, or courage without turning their success into evidence that your own life has no value. Every person has a different path, different wounds, different timing, and different priorities. Success cannot be measured fairly through comparison because no two lives are identical. A truly successful person is not someone who defeats everyone else in competition. It is someone who gradually builds a life that feels honest, meaningful, emotionally sustainable, and aligned with their deepest values even when nobody is watching or applauding. One of the most difficult truths about building a successful life is understanding that growth often requires disappointing people. Many individuals spend years shaping their personalities around approval because approval feels safe. They become the person who never says no, never creates conflict, never changes direction, and never challenges expectations. At first, this behavior may seem kind or responsible, but over time, it can become emotionally destructive because a life built entirely around pleasing others slowly disconnects you from yourself. Real success includes learning how to respect others without abandoning your own needs, limits, and values. Sometimes this means creating boundaries with people who constantly demand your energy while ignoring your well being. Sometimes it means choosing a different path than the one your family imagined for you. Sometimes it means admitting that your current lifestyle looks impressive from the outside, but feels empty on the inside. These decisions are not easy because human beings naturally want acceptance and belonging. Yet, if you sacrifice your entire identity to maintain approval, eventually you begin living like a performer instead of a real person. A successful life cannot exist where honesty is completely absent. You do not need everyone to understand your choices, but you do need enough courage to live according to what feels true and meaningful to you. This courage grows slowly through action. Every time you choose authenticity over performance, your self respect becomes stronger. Self respect is deeply connected to inner peace because peace does not come only from comfort. Peace often comes from knowing that your actions align with your values. Many people search for confidence without realizing that confidence is usually built through integrity. When you repeatedly betray yourself, ignore your needs, or violate your own values, insecurity naturally increases. But when your actions become more aligned with your truth, trust in yourself slowly returns. This is why small daily choices matter so much. Success is not created only through dramatic moments. It is shaped quietly through ordinary habits, conversations, and decisions repeated over time. The way you spend your mornings matters. The way you respond to stress matters. The people you surround yourself with matter. The boundaries you protect matter. The promises you keep to yourself matter. A meaningful life is not built in one giant achievement. It is built through consistent alignment between what you believe and how you actually live. Of course, nobody maintains perfect alignment all the time. Human beings make mistakes constantly. You will lose focus. You will compare yourself to others. You will waste time, avoid difficult conversations, and sometimes act against your own values. This does not mean you are failing at life. It means you are human. The important thing is learning how to return to yourself after these moments instead of using failure as proof that change is impossible. Compassion becomes essential here. Many people are extremely harsh with themselves. They believe criticism will force growth, but endless self hatred usually creates paralysis instead of transformation. Compassion does not mean avoiding responsibility or making excuses forever. It means treating yourself with enough patience and understanding that growth can continue instead of collapsing under shame. A successful person is not someone who never struggles. A successful person is someone who keeps adjusting, learning, and moving forward even after setbacks. This mindset changes the way you experience progress. Instead of needing constant perfection, you begin focusing on direction. Are your choices moving you closer to the kind of life you truly want or further away from it? That question matters more than temporary success or failure. Even small actions can completely change the direction of your life over time. One honest conversation can repair a relationship. One healthy habit can improve your energy. One boundary can protect your peace. One moment of courage can create a new future. Growth often begins quietly long before visible results appear. Another important truth is that success cannot be postponed forever into the future. Many people spend their lives waiting to finally feel fulfilled after the next achievement, the next purchase, the next promotion, or the next milestone. But if you never learn how to experience meaning in the present, no future success will permanently satisfy you. A meaningful life includes the ability to appreciate ordinary moments, conversations, laughter, rest, nature, learning, connection, and simple peace. These experiences may seem small, but together they create the emotional texture of a life well lived. In the end, success is not simply about how impressive your life appears to strangers. It is about whether your outer world and inner world feel increasingly connected instead of constantly in conflict. It is about being able to look at yourself honestly and say, I am still learning, still growing, still imperfect, but I am moving in a direction that feels true to me. That is real success. Not perfection, not endless achievement, not constant applause, but a life built with awareness, balance, integrity, courage, and humanity. So ask yourself gently, what does success truly mean for you? Not for society, not for fear, not for comparison, but for your real self. Then choose one small action today that moves you closer to that answer, because success is not something waiting at the end of life. It is something you quietly practice in the way you live each day.